There we go. Okay, hello, welcome to episode 413 of the Self-Help Podcast with me, Edward Lamb, and my good pal, Sean Orford. How are you, Sean?
I'm very good, very good. Had a lovely weekend away, so in the Yorkshire Dales, which is nice.
Likewise, yeah, and the weather closed in a little bit yesterday on the Monday, didn't it? But you managed to...
Yeah, bit exciting.
I know, I mean, we shouldn't complain because it has been extremely dry and sunny and, well, not warm entirely, but it's been very dry for a good 3 or 4 weeks, hasn't it? So...
Well, we climbed to the top of one of the fells on Saturday, and when we got to the very top, it started snowing, and we thought, "Oh my God!" And it lasted about 10 minutes and then disappeared. That was it.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, yeah, we were on the beach. We've been to Northumberland, but so just for a long weekend, the bank holiday, and like literally, I was burying my lad in the sand up to his neck, and then 20 minutes later, we were legging it up the hill back to the, trying to get back to the caravan because there was hailstones slamming into us. So, yeah, you gotta love holidays in the UK, hey?
Yeah.
We're talking this week about retail therapy, really, and yeah, as life returns to normal, there's a lot of, well, for some people, a lot of money swirling around, and there's a lot of there'll be a lot of places to spend it, I'm sure. So we'll talk about that soon. livingthepresent.co.uk, all the show notes and links as ever, free meditation files and a discount code for the book if you fancy it. So check it out. So yeah, Sean, you've had a good week, a bit of time to unplug, hey?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been nice to just get away, which is the first time in forever, it feels like. The only thing I found was going up the fell, which is it's like an hour and a half, hour and 3/4 walk to the top, and some of it is quite steep. I could really feel the COVID issue with my lungs.
Really?
So that going up, it was very tight, and there was a time when I felt like I had a dagger down in each lung. Oh. But after a while, although it hurt, I could actually breathe in properly. And I felt that's the first time I've actually managed to fill my lungs since I had COVID last year.
Wow. Yeah, when did you get it? Were you like June or July when you?
No, but it was August, September.
Oh, right.
It was, yeah, end of August and September. But I think the test was on something like September the 5th. But it made me realise that although it is kind of counterintuitive when you feel your body, I need to go and make my body work again. I need to get my lungs working because I felt so much better. What happens is I've still got the blues voice now. There was a point when we got to the top of the fell when I could hardly talk. I was sounding like, so it has that weird effect. But I need to get my lungs working properly. So I'm doing lots of pranayama now, breathing exercises, and I'm gonna actually start running again. I'll do walk runs, start off with, to get my system back into it.
Cool. I guess it's I mean, life is returning in it, but for a lot of people, there will be that picked up the bug, if you can call it that.
Yeah,
it's going to be living. You're going to be living with it for a while, hey, and little reminders here and there of what we all went through.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, luckily I've managed to swerve it so far, and I've had my text message to say that I will shortly be invited for jab number 1, which is cool, and I'm not even 40 quite. So yeah, they're obviously rattling through it in our part of the world, aren't they?
Yeah. Which, when you look at places like India and what they're going through, that's scary, isn't it? That's like.
It is, yeah. I mean, I would happily sacrifice my my jab and any treatment I needed to just send it over there, man, where whatever over 50s and 60s over there need it much more. So yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, very scary.
So yeah, you've written a blog post about retail therapy, and I've had a good read through it and made some notes, but yeah, what prompted this one, Sean?
Talking to people, it was after the podcast that we did on smell. That one seems to have affected quite a few people. People have come back to me and said, "Oh, no, I'd thought about that before," and that whole idea about what do we smell like. But then the issue has come about. It's conversations about how there's so much money that people are holding because they haven't been spending it in lockdown, and how now people want to go and spend because they like the retail therapy, but they want the freedom. But out there are some nice, nasty scallywags who they want that money as well. So there's lots of scams going on. And the people were saying things about being able to smell and all this kind of, it was the nose, touching your nose stuff. And it's like, can you smell a rat? Can you smell a rat online? And it's easier to identify if you're being diddled you can smell it if you're being diddled face to face. If it's being done online, so many people are getting taken up to cleaners at the moment, which isn't good, you know.
No, it's not. And some of the scams are pretty good. In fact, you know, when I got my text from the NHS on whatever, Friday last week, yeah, my initial instinct was this isn't right. There's something wrong about this, because it was asking me to send an email somewhere to an email address. So you know, well, I realized in the end, and I checked out the email address, it was legit and all that. And I had a previous text message from that number from, you know, so it was fine, that one. But I've had other texts. I think there's been Royal Mail ones going around recently in the UK, the postal service we use here, which aren't from Royal Mail, and quite have scammed a lot of people. So yeah, you just gotta, and I host a lot of through my day job, email addresses for clients. You know, I take care of them for them, and so I get a decent number of emails from clients every week just saying, is this right, Ed? You know, is this legit? Because quite often it will ask for username and passwords and stuff.
Indeed, you get them from me. So
yeah, indeed, yeah. You might be my top customer, actually. Yeah. But yeah, the general thing is, if it hasn't got some kind of unique identifier to you in the email or the text, you know, to say hi Ed, or then it's asking for username and passwords, then it's usually a scam. If it mentions your name or some kind of account number that you recognize, then yeah. But well, it's worth investigating everything, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the point, isn't it? It's like at this time, as we're coming out of hibernation into the sunlight, we need to be careful that we're not blinded by the light and end up making mistakes. You know, that's the bit that I see.
Yeah. I mean, are you looking forward to getting back in the shops as they all reopen and cramming in there and getting all your stuff?
No.
I know you do love a bit of stuff, don't you, Sean?
No, I can't stand stuff. Keep your stuff. I don't want it. It's for me, it's been good not to be doing that, really. We went to IKEA a couple of weeks ago, which is open in a very COVID-friendly way. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting to be out doing it again. But when I'm walking around, I was thinking how much I really don't miss any of this, you know. And it's okay when you're setting up home and you're doing stuff. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, you've been a regular everyday sense. Why do we want to do that?
I know. Well, I mean, for where we live, you know, we're suburbanites, aren't we? So we're not kind of urban creatures where everything that we need is within a 5-minute walk, or, you know, a lot of what we do as suburbanites, is revolves around getting in a car and going to places, partly just to kind of fix our boredom. So, you know, I live quite close to a retail park in Brombrant.
Of course, yeah.
We're quite good at not going there, but you know, when you've got 2 kids and nothing to do on a weekend, and in normal times, you know, you go up to the retail park, man, and join the rest of your suburban friends and family, and you just have a wander around the shops, and you go to the soft play centre for the kids to have a bit of fun, and maybe you go and grab a bit of food, and then you get back in your stink wagon and you head on home. So
sounds perfect.
Yes, I mean, obviously, you know, things have evolved in the last 100 years or so in terms of commerce and the economy. And in a place like the UK, it's based a lot around services and kind of things for people to do at the weekend, even if that thing is just buying stuff to kind of to fill that gap.
I think that's what people have been doing. I call it like lockdown lust. People have been lusting after doing things or having things or getting things or going somewhere. And the more you play with it in your mind, the bigger it gets. So that people have developed this need to go and, I need to go and do it and have it and be it.
Yeah. You know? So talk a little bit about the actual psychological responses and the things.
The dopamine bit.
Yeah, what's flowing through our body when we go to places like that and we kind of transactions.
We don't think. I love this whole thing about we see addiction as being someone who's in the gutter on heroin or cocaine or alcohol or something, but we're all addicted to things. I mean, I guess you'd say that people are addicted to cars. And addiction means that it's a habit, but a habit is a chemical process in your brain and your nervous system.
Yeah.
And the main driver for this is the pleasure centers, which is like dopamine. So people will get a hit out of buying something. So the way it goes is, in psycho speak, we'd say they get a love object. So someone is, maybe there's a dress in a shop, so they walk past and they look at it, and then they walk past again and look at it, and then they deliberately walk past and look at it, and then in the end they go in and they touch it, smell it, taste it, feel it, whatever, and then they got to try it on, and then they've got to have it, and that process might take weeks or months to get to the, I've actually got it. But the tension between you and this love object gets bigger and bigger and bigger until you've got it, and then there's no tension there. So the amount of people that will buy something, take it home, and then maybe never wear it. Yeah.
I know.
So millions of pairs of shoes, you know. That kind of.
Yeah. I mean, you and I aren't immune to that because, I mean, I've made a few big purchases in the last year, or big for us anyway. And you've got something going through at the moment that you've been plotting and planning for years and years. So for me, in the last year, I've bought a new laptop, which is quite, you remember my old one, the trouble I had with that. So,
steam driven, that one, yeah.
I like to think this was like pretty necessary, an upgrade. I've bought a new phone because I had a 4.5-year-old iPhone, which was kind of coming to the end of its life. And we can talk a little bit about how the things that we buy, they kind of, for one reason or another, kind of become, they can't be used anymore, which is a shame, even though they're not that old. And then obviously recently I've bought an electric bike to kind of, as a long-term replacement for the car, to be honest, but still, well, did I really need it? Would my life have been like that much worse without it? Probably not. We could have got by without it quite easily. So again, that was probably a splurge, which the world could have lived without. So you and I aren't immune to that stuff, are we?
No. So I'm actually sitting in front of 3 screens here, which people say is excessive, but I'm actually using them all. So I've got you on one, I've got our running list on one, I've got the blog on another. And when I'm working with people, I'm very often using 3 screens, and that to me isn't excessive. It's like what I need to do my job. I was watching someone online the other day, and they had the brand new M1 MacBook Pro, which was so slick and so fast. And I was watching them use it, and there was a part of me that was fired up the dopamine triggers, and I thought, oh, I could really do one of those. And then I observed the dopamine, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't really need it. I wouldn't use it anyway. No, I don't need it.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to get trapped in that kind of, it's almost like a fashion thing, isn't it? I need that pair of trainers or that haircut.
Totally. I mean, I bought this MacBook Pro, May last year, and it was, it's not the completely specced out top of the range one, but it's a MacBook Pro, so it does the great job. But 3 months later, after getting it, Apple announced, they've got this new M1 chip, which for those that don't know is like Apple have produced this chip especially for their laptops, so they're not going to get them from Intel anymore. They're way more efficient. Battery lasts twice as long. It's actually quite a massive step forward for computing. So I'm like, oh God, I've just spent nearly $2,000 on this laptop, man, and this thing that's twice as fast is out straight away, and it's the same price. But that's just the way computing works, isn't it? Because it's the same. I bought a Google phone. I switched from Apple, and I got a Pixel 5. Within a few months already, the kind of rumors about the Pixel 6 were coming, and it's due next month. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, flipping heck, man, here we go.
Well, the good news is that they're doing an M1 iPad.
Yeah, so I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of conversation about if you've got an M1 iPad, do you need a MacBook anymore?
Yeah. But then, so you were talking about getting your camper van, and that'll be it's going to be a steam-driven gas guzzler, but within a few years, everything's going to be electric, so you'll be wanting an upgrade straight away. Hey.
Well, I'm assuming that somewhere in this process, that there's going to be a conversion kit where you can convert a diesel to either hydrogen or to to an electric. I'm assuming that, you know, with the space that you've got, you can take the guts out and put an electric motor in. And there must be someone out there doing that if it's not VW itself, because there must be that many vehicles on the road that would need to be utilized. You know?
Exactly. I mean, I guess that's going to be one of the great swindles of the car industry in the next 10 years, because the actual nuts and bolts of a car, like, is the suspension and the chassis and the frame, will all be absolutely, you know, can last as long as you make it last in terms of looking after it. But the car industry will try and sell us these shiny new electric cars where you just replace absolutely everything, when all that energy that's gone into making the cars that we have outside our houses right now, you know, they're perfectly serviceable, aren't they? I'm not going to, you know, hopefully I'll be able to resist that law, but I can understand why people don't, because I mean, we are but pawns, aren't we, in this stuff? Because there's a reason why advertising, or people or businesses of all kinds spend so much on advertising, because human beings are very easy to control, aren't they?
But what you're doing is you're tickling someone's pleasure centers, so that when you start to get the advertising right, and people are suddenly thinking, oh my God, how could I have done all my life without having that particular kind of washing up liquid, you know? And good advertisers, they're better at psychology than psychologists. Advertisers, they're brilliant. Advertisers and door-to-door salesmen really know people, you know, else they'd all be bankrupt.
Yeah, well, I used to work, I had a Saturday job at Curry's, in fact, at the retail park I was talking about earlier on in Bromley.
Yeah, right, yeah.
The shop has moved since then, but it's like bigger and better now. But
was that when it was Curry's PC World, or before it became Curry's?
Yeah, it was before that. It was when it had Comet next door to it, and it was just.
Oh my God! Yes, I remember that.
Do you remember that? So yeah, Comet disappeared when I was working there, but I had loads of fun in there, man. I learned a lot, really. My dad worked in retail his whole life, and he's been very clear to me, like, do not work in retail, Ed. Whatever you do not go down that path. So there was never any chance of me. It was like a long-term career. But yeah, getting to know, because I was cashier, and I was kind of on the tills and running around doing the admin stuff, doing credit agreements for the bigger purchases, that kind of thing. But you know, working with the sales team and watching those guys, especially the top 2 or 3 sales guys at the company at the time, watching them and kind of learning the tricks they used, because every now and again I would have to go and work on the sales floor and sell something to someone just because it was too busy, or you know, someone was sick or whatever. And it's a real art form, selling to someone, isn't it? And it shouldn't just be sniffed at, because people come in for, they need a new washing machine or whatever, but they also come in to kind of the joy of kind of being sold something and learning about a new product.
Yeah, but also it's the psychology. I did some work 100 years ago for an American plastics company called Universal Plastics, and we were doing door-to-door selling. So I was like a teenager, and one of the things that we were taught to do, and it was as bland as this: a woman opens the door and she's got a fag in her mouth and her hair in rollers, and she's in her 40s or something, and you were taught to say hello from the feet up and go, is your mother in? And so you go, oh, you naughty boy, and you got a sale. You know, it was all that kind of stuff. It was that manipulative.
Yeah, well, you're from the East End, aren't you, man? So you like Rodney and Del Boy and all that, and
all right, yeah, bloody
you
right.
must have known all those characters when you were growing up, eh?
Yeah. Get yourself a monkey or a pony, go down and spend it. Oh no. Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, it's very much that. But it's like, it's understanding that when people buy something, they get something from it other than what they've just bought. If you go down and buy something and like you're neither here nor there, it's a utilitarian something that is like, yeah. But most people, and it's the one that really gets people is when there's 2 options. Do you buy that or that? Which one are you going to go for? You know, and then that really gets people going. And then that's when you get into the, oh, and look at this, and this one does that as well. Oh, look at the shape. Oh, you know, what are people going to think of me when I get this? You know, and it's feeding all those parts of our brain that actually from an evolutionary point of view, have created our success. Because the things that have excited people and turned them on, they've been motivated to do. That's how human beings have developed as much as they have. Yeah. Now we may look at it now and go, have we gone too far here? Certainly with things like the urbanization, industrialization, and the pollution. Yeah. But the drive behind it has been people's pleasure. Even a loaf of bread. If you white sliced bread. Why do we need white sliced bread? You have to process the flour even more. You can go to the process of slicing it. What was the matter with brown bread unsliced? Yeah, but something excited people about white bread and it's sliced. Look, wow.
Yeah, and there's a reason why bakeries tend to blow vent the smell out into the street.
Yeah. But there were things in, the psychology of shopping anyway, the lighting in a shop, and you have the green lights over the vegetables and the red lights over the meat and all that kind of stuff to enhance the look of it so that the meat looks nice and fresh when it's not. But also the music was playing. If you listen to the music when you go into a supermarket, if the music is slow, it's because there aren't that many people in there and they're slowing the people up. If the beat goes up, it's because you want to get people through. So people automatically walk faster to the music. Yeah. Wow. But also things like the smells, that some of them can actually be chemical. You think you can smell baking bread and it's not. It's an imposed perfume that we were talking about before, and the whole idea of smells, to get you. But what's it doing is hitting your pleasure centers. Oh, I'd really love one of those donuts now. Oh,
yeah. I think if you look at the layout of it, I'm not an expert in this stuff, but a supermarket, is laid out in a very particular way, and often they will put the milk. The one thing you went in for, the pint of milk, is way at the back.
Yes.
Or you've got to ask. It's not exactly where you think it should be, so you've got to ask someone for it. So you've got to go past all this other stuff and all these other smells and etc. etc. So and obviously at the tills, there'll be lots of racks of stuff that you can just quickly chuck in at the last minute. Oh, I need some of them. Oh, I'll just have a pack of chewing gum. Oh, I'll just have some of this. They're clever, isn't it?
But if you're walking along a row of shelves, the things that are eye level are the ones that they want you to buy. So if you look downwards, you're going to find very similar things that are probably cheaper. Yeah. So, but people, it's easier to grab it at that eye level as you go along.
And I wonder what kind of average height they put stuff at, because you and I are quite, relatively small for.
No. We're normal size. Bigger people are vertically challenged. You have to get your head around this.
But I take it all the kids' sweets are down at eye level for kids. Probably. I've never even looked, but.
Yeah, no. When you go in, have a look. Yeah. It's really weird. If you go in somewhere like that and someone was taking you around, like a curator, and saying, look at the difference in that light and that light. Or, oh, look, they just changed the music. What does that mean? That kind of stuff. Yeah. It's all psychology going on.
Yeah, all these are things, as we live in the present, that we can just take note of, and we don't have to be kind of really cynical about it. You can if you want, but you can be amazed and intrigued by it, can't you? And take pleasure in it all.
Yeah, I love to go in somewhere like a garage or something and have the salesman try and sell me a product. I just love it because I'm watching the psychology of what's going on, and it's real fun to be involved in that. Yeah, if you see it for what it is, rather than being carried away with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, last time we bought a car, which was quite a way back now, and hopefully we won't go through that again. That's my plan. But I was quite scared to go to a garage because I know that I'm quite easily swayed and will go along with stuff. So I was very particular in I knew which car we wanted, which model, and I found them online and all that stuff. So I cut out all that middleman stuff and spent a lot of time researching it and found one locally that was available, went to test drive it and bought it. So because I just know that if I'm put in front of someone that knows how to sell something to me that I definitely might not need, or I might kind of add a few cheeky upgrades that
so does that mean that you have easily activated pleasure centers?
I think it must do. Yeah. I think it must do. But there's just stuff to look out for, isn't there, all the time? And there are people trying to scam you, which they may not always be that obvious to spot, but I'm sure we're all aware that there are scammers out there. But what do you think is going to happen then in the next few months then as kind of life returns to normal in the UK and people have got money to burn? I mean, there is the potential for kind of quite serious economic hardship. People might, people are feeling hard up at the moment, a certain amount, but it could be quite easy just to kind of splurge everything in the next few months without kind of leaving enough for the winter.
I think that there's two ways. There are people that don't have a lot that still have the drive to get because they haven't been able to do anything. Yeah, and they can end up in a worse situation. There are a lot of people in Europe, particularly the UK, who have gathered a huge amount of savings together. There's a vast amount of money that people haven't spent. They normally would have been out going to the pub, getting the takeaway, whatever. So like now we're in a position where these people can spend it and they want to spend it. But you have to remember that there are scammers out there that want it. They want it and they're out there to get it. Yeah. Which is always kind of ridiculous. Why do human beings do this to each other? But we do. So the thing is that we do have to be really awake at this moment as we go out. I mean, people are saying to me already that, do you know how much a pint of beer is now? And people have jacked up the price of a pint because people want to go and buy a pint, so you've got a market there. But the sellers are trying to get back the money that they've lost because of lockdown. So inevitably, there's going to be this movement in prices. It's making sure that you're not being ripped off while it's going on.
Yeah, and
that you're not being scammed, like you said about giving the wrong details on emails and things, and then ending up suddenly looking in your bank account and realizing it's empty. Where's all that gone?
Yeah. Well, I think your resource of the week is to kind of make sure you've got your official bank app for your phone or tablet so you can know what to look out for and be careful.
Yeah, virtually all the apps from the banks, whoever your bank is, have anti-scamming information ideas. They're protective things that you can do. And it is really worth, before you go out there into the big wild world, and just actually go through some of that stuff and get your head on the right way around before you go and do it.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, my resource is Mad Men, the TV show, which I think we got through most of it, a couple of years ago, actually, but it's about the advertising industry in kind of 60s, late 50s, 60s America, that kind of boom time for, when America was kind of, properly just, I guess it was kind of start of the plastic revolution as well. And just people had money to burn post-war America, and everyone was starting to buy cars and the roads were getting built, and amazing. Like, obviously looking back now, it's probably, we took a few missteps in terms of the environmental cost of it all, but the advertising background to it all and the tricks that were learned back then are kind of still with us now, so it's worth watching that show if you haven't already.
I think that the biggest problem for human beings has been that they've acted without looking at the consequence. And to me, there was nothing wrong with producing plastics if at the same time you produced the way to process the waste product on once you'd finished it in a positive way. Then I think, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. But we've done so many things assuming that we can just dump or whatever in the sea and it's all going to be okay. And it's not.
Up with us now, isn't it? I listened to a podcast earlier today, actually talking, and the guy was saying he's a plastic expert, and he doesn't think we should use the term single-use plastics. He thinks we should change it to hazardous waste because it's just much more like alarming, and it's more of an accurate description of what it is. Kind of single-use plastic makes it sound quite, it's fine, here you go. Yeah, it's bad, but I'll just put it in the bin and someone else will sort it out. But it's a hazardous waste, and it threatens threatens us all. We consume it in every glass of water we take because it's all kind of breaking down into our system, innit?
Yeah.
So little tip for you.
Yeah, not good.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, you happy, Sean?
Yeah. One last shout out. We have a regular listener, Agnes, and it's her birthday today. So happy birthday, Agnes.
Rock and roll, Agnes. Yeah, it's been a while. Hope you're well. Happy birthday. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Sean. Well, I'll see you again next time, mate.
Yep. You take care. See you now. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
See ya.